What's up, YouTube? This is Joshua Patterson, and I wanted to welcome you all to another episode of Honestly Single. In this episode, I'll be talking about the dangers of being a chaser. This video is especially directed towards the men because what I'm talking about is chasing or pursuing that subject of desire. For many of us men, that will be the woman in our romantic pursuits. And I really want to address that directly. I do believe that the women will have some wisdom to glean from this video, but again, I am specifically speaking towards the men. So without further ado, let me begin. I first and foremost want to say that you all can probably relate to me, my fellow men, in the sense that we all have that individual in our lives, maybe a family friend or a relative. It could even be, your barber or maybe even your doctor who's brought up the subject of your romantic life. And they were just curious to know, so to speak, who are you pursuing? Are you getting into dating? Who is that lady who's, blessed and highly favored, so to speak, at your school or at your workplace? But they're just curious to see if there's anybody you're checking out. I can say personally, my guy was definitely my barber. He seems to have a new girlfriend every couple of months or so. He was always eager to show her off. He'll be like, hey, this is my new white girl, or this is my new Latina, whatever. I don't know why he was so racially specific, but yeah, he would always have somebody new to share. And, I was a polar opposite because I'm not the type to run after everything that looks good to me on the simple basis that, she looks good. So I was much different. I'd be like, I really don't get into all of that. Every now and then I come across somebody who I think is worthwhile, but I'm really just not eager to spread myself thin, running after a woman, especially these days with everything I've come to learn and everything that's inspired this channel that you're watching right now. So that would always be my perspective. And I do want to say, also that, I just don't think it's healthy to make women the objective of your pursuit, of your life. I don't think it's good for any man to, get up every day and do all that he's doing in terms of, the money he'd like to make, or, the clothes he'd like to put on his back, the ice he wants to wear, just everything, even the career he's pursuing, for the sake of meeting a woman's approval. I think that's a very unhealthy, unfulfilling, and overall immature life to live. I believe that, we're all given special talents and a special purpose on this earth. And while, yes, there was a woman who played a significant role in us being conceived here on earth, no, I do not believe that any man should make a woman his sole objective. That's personally for me, that's not what gets me up out of bed in the morning. But I do want to steer us back to the fact that, we have all been blessed with a certain set of skills. We've all been blessed with talent. And then there are certain objectives that were set in our lives that those skills were meant to achieve. I just think that we see injustices, we see challenges in our day-to-day life. We may even be born in imbalanced and inconvenient circumstances for the simple sake of being exposed to something that we're called to change. So in saying all of this, I just want to say that I think it's a bit squeamish and a little bit childish for a man to, one, make a woman his sole core pursuit, and then also, two, complain about his struggles in securing a woman. I want to address both of those things. I take issue with both of those things, and I just want to talk about that and feel I have a right to talk about that because that's been my issue before. There was a certain time in my past when I would complain about my lack of success in finding a relationship, simply, out of, just emotional stress, just, going through that rough history of not fitting in, not understanding why you don't fit in, and just, that constant trend of rejection. I just think that's a necessary aspect of life in some cases. It's more common than many people think it is, and it's just one of the things that come with the struggles of life. As one rock band, the Reliant K said, it's that process of tasting the feet and then brushing your teeth. It's just one of those hard knocks. But, it's not something that any individual should allow to define themselves or to dictate who they have the capacity to receive in life. I think the girl that you're looking out for, or that you would like to secure in life, is very much achievable. But I think the secret trick and the key to actually securing her and finding her is actually directing your attention away from her, and diverting it from her, and concentrating what you're passionate about, or concentrating your energy into what you're passionate about. So I think that for us as men, we should be focused, on our purpose, what we're actually designed to build. I think whatever we are called to build, we need to go ahead and get about building it, because no woman wants to be connected to any man who is not building and developing something. If there's one thing that I've learned from many of the women I've interviewed in my past, especially in the process of developing a book I'm working on now, if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that they love the idea of being connected with a man who has a vision and who is actively developing something. From what I hear, there's nothing that excites them more than being present and being able to encourage and to promote that vision. And for me, being a Christian and looking at this dynamic from a Christian perspective, that really comes as no surprise to me. Even in Genesis, back in the garden, with Adam and Eve, the first thing Adam had was not a woman. He was not equipped with a woman. He was acquainted, and God acquainted him with the field in which he was called to work and operate and tend to. And then, when the time was appropriate, and it evidently took some time, God produced Eve. And how I know it took some time was because when Eve was formed out of Adam, in accordance with biblical history, Adam said, "At last." So evidently he had a desire in his heart for a woman that was a long time coming, but his first responsibility was to fulfill and to do what God was calling him to do. And afterwards, Eve was formed, and they worked together in tending to the territory that was entrusted to them. And yes, things got a bit out of hand further down the road, and that's a whole nother story. But the point that I'm getting at is, that as far as men and women and how we're called to operate with one another, they are, in their own ways, they are in a sense both builders. But men are primarily builders in the sense that they're always I'm sorry, they're equipped and they're given my apologies, people. They're equipped and entrusted with a certain project. And it's not that women can't build, but women were called to be the upgrade. Even in biblical scripture, a woman is identified as the helpmeet. They're the ones intended to help us along, and they are called to be the upgrade, the ones who enhance anything that we are already in the process of developing. And again, I want to make the point that it doesn't mean that women themselves cannot have and build their own visions. What I'm saying is they can also serve the purpose of being a tremendous upgrade to the family structure and what men are called to do. So I say all of these things to just, again, make a simple case, and that is the case that, if you truly desire a woman who's meant, to compliment you, who not simply looks good and is appealing to you visually, but also has a good heart and a true passion for advancing and developing what you're establishing, what I want to encourage you to do is put all of your focus, 100% of your focus, into developing your vision. Figure out what it is you're passionate about and developing, and go ahead and get about building it. You have no time to waste. There's so many things that wait on the other side of that sacrifice, including the spouse you desire. You wouldn't have that desire in your heart. You wouldn't have that passion in your heart if there wasn't someone waiting on the other end who was meant to complement it. And I think that we as men need to turn our eyes away from these, our idealized images of women, everything that we see pumped into our eyes, our senses generally, our gates through social media, through what we see on television, just through every kind of standard and ideal, even stuff that's promoted and splayed out practically before us, even in our day-to-day lives. If we're going out to a social event, if we're at a party, for some of you who are messing around at the nightclubs, there's a lot, as you very much know, that's thrown in your face that really it can satisfy for a temporary period of time. It's a fiesta for a while, but at the end of the day, that woman isn't your wife. That woman is not wife material. She could in no way be your spouse. That woman isn't going to bring anything healthy or positive to your life. If anything, she might even have a dark past that was going to prompt her to basically set fire to anything and anyone she comes in contact with. The trauma is very real. There are a lot of people who have gone through things that they didn't actually grow out of. It's one thing to go through something. Not too many people grow through that thing. So, you just really have to evaluate people thoroughly. And, I think that, again, the woman that you all desire, again, speaking to men, heterosexual men who are in search of a woman, the woman you all desire, that partner, that's someone who is going to come through the seeds planted, the seeds sown by your hard and earnest work and your devotion to fulfilling everything that you were called and created to do. So I wanted to share that with you all, and I have to stress this because I really feel that the spouse that's waiting for you all, she's going to be someone who's perfectly designed to promote and to help build and to develop what you're already doing. When she comes in, she should be making your 100 a new form of 100. You should be operating at 200% because of her presence. She should be enhancing everything that you're already active in doing. I like to say that, just to paraphrase what I once heard a pastor say, it's not about a soulmate as in S-O-U-L mate. It's not about a person who perfectly compliments you and finishes your sentences and is interested in the same things you're interested in. You may not find that kind of person, but you'll definitely find a soulmate as an S-O-L-E mate, somebody who is actually built to run with you and finish and help you finish the marathon that you're called to finish and cross that finish line with you. So I just wanted to share that with you all. I think that's critical. And again, we as men need to reach a place where we get away from all of the images and the idealizations and the icons pumped into our minds and just realize that that woman that we're waiting for, she's going to be the right person when we meet her, but we are going to meet her while we're in the process of fulfilling our purpose and doing our due diligence here on earth. So again, don't be a chaser. As a matter of fact, the woman who sees the value in you will be prompted to chase you. I think you should embrace the challenge of getting to a point where, you are the subject to be desired. You are the one to chase, where everything that you seek in life, it's not something that you're running after. But I think you'll reach a special place when, all of that prosperity, that fulfillment, that reward, those things come running after you. Opportunities open themselves up unto you. The right woman is revealed in a sense, approaches you and comes to you at the right time. And from that point forward, all it just takes is good discernment. Because there's going to be the promise, and then, there are going to be a lot of counterfeits that look like the promise. And I just, recommend you to, seek discernment in everything that you do. For those of you who are spiritually inclined, I think you should, be in a season where, you're praying for that discernment. To my fellow believers, to Christians, be ones who ask God for that discernment to help you see your relationships clearly, to see your opportunities clearly, to see your destiny, your purpose clearly, so that you're not misappropriating anything and you're not embracing the right thing at the wrong time, because you have to be careful about that as well. But I just wanted to share that with you all and just share that with you as encouragement that everything you're waiting for, you don't have to work as hard for it, quite as hard for it as you think you do. But just focus on doing and being you to the best of your ability, and the best that was made to accommodate you and complement you. It will arrive at the right time. So again, YouTube, thank you all for your time. I'll have some more content coming soon. If you like what you're hearing here, definitely like. Also be sure to comment, because I want to hear your thoughts. I love original thoughts and perspectives on subjects like this. And also be sure to subscribe. You all take care and have a good one.